Like
It's
your
like
dear old grandmother.
drinking a Whopper that has had the chocolate sucked off of it by your dear old grandmother.
I'm drinking a blueberry pomegranate boobly.
So, Ben,
People
when I
might
was a
call
kid,
it bubbly, but I call it boobly. Like
my
Michael Bublé.
father
Get your mind out of the
had
gutter.
a my father had a book that was given to him of funny things that happened to pastors in home
Uh-oh.
visits. Um, and so you might remember, Ben. Did you ever read Reader's Digest as a kid?
Oh man, all the time.
Humor in uniform,
Yep.
things of that nature, just jokes. It was similar to
Life in
that.
these United States. Laughter's the best
Exactly.
medicine.
So in this case, there's a thing in the church, at least in the Lutheran Missouri Synod, probably in other churches as well, a thing called field workers, or a group of people called field workers. They're not pastors yet. They're pastors in training, and they go to different places and they help do some of the pastor's duties,
They gotta
such
put in their
as
time.
yeah, visiting shut-ins is one of them. Shut-ins, of course, people that don't leave, they can't come to the church because they're too old or have some other ailment, whatever. And so there's a story of a field worker, Ben, who goes out to one of these shut-ins, and he's been doing church stuff all day. He's very hungry, um, and she's got on her little dresser table there a bowl of peanuts, and he's like, "Well, gosh, I'm hungry. Maybe I'll just have one." And so he's doing that, and she's talking to him about her life and stuff, and he has another one, and then finally he looks down and he's eaten the entire bowl of peanuts, Ben. All of the peanuts, he's eaten
How
them for this
embarrassing.
little old lady. And he says, "Ma'am, I'm so sorry. I just looked down and I've eaten all these peanuts." And she says, "Oh, well, with my teeth, it's very hard to eat. So all I do is suck the chocolate off of them."
Ba-dum-bum.
And even as a kid, I was like, that one's a good one. That's
That's
a,
yeah.
and it's because his mouth touched something that the old lady's mouth touched.
Naughty.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
realized that in my background, I reshelved my books lately. And I not doing this on purpose, but your books are right there. That's all the giraffe and elephant books right in my background. They're being held up by the Big Book of Hell,
Oh, nice.
and right next
Now,
to probably a Far Side compilation.
Now, is the Big Book of Hell a graphic novel of hell stuff? Because I have like the Big Book of Conspiracies and things like
No,
that. I
this
was
is
wondering if
so.
it's the same. Okay,
Matt Groening, pre Simpsons, did
Life
a
in
comic
Hell.
strip, Life in Hell,
Yeah.
right? So this
Okay.
is the Big Book of Hell, a
Nice.
cartoon book by Matt Groening,
Hey,
Portland's
wait a
own Matt
second.
Groening.
Now, Ben, I did not do this on purpose at all. That was a Big Book of Hell. Look what, look at the color scheme of a Big Book of Giraffe and Elephants. Now hold up a Big Book of Hell. I mean, I
It's like it's
mean,
a
oh, you've got
continuation of the
both.
photo.
My gosh,
Actually, if you put
this
them
is
side by side,
completely unintentional, Ben. Isn't that crazy?
you ripped off Matt Groening.
I didn't though. I had no idea about that book until this moment. That's crazy. But I knew
I have,
my book well enough that it
yeah.
popped into my head. Um, so okay,
I have another one of your
I
books, but it's all the way up there in the fiction section.
I do have a thing that I want to tell you right off the bat. I bought new shoes and they finally arrived.
New shoes.
These are my new shoes.
You wear your shoes indoors?
Okay, so this is the thing, right? No, I don't. I do not wear shoes indoors.
You put them on for the
Except
show.
these are my new shoes. These shoes have never been outside.
Are they going
So
to be specifically indoor shoes?
no, these are going to be outside shoes, but I get to wear them indoors for now because they've never been outside. So I'm very excited. I'm
I
wearing them,
don't.
and it's
I don't not wear shoes in my apartment because they track in outside dirt. I don't wear
oh,
shoes in my apartment because it's just more comfortable to not.
mm.
I also have
Well, let me
my.
tell you.
I don't have any carpeting. I have hardwood floors. It's like this like snap together laminate kind of stuff, and so it's just more comfortable in socked feet.
We don't have any carpeting either. But I do wear indoors. I have my indoor shoes, which are these,
Yeah.
which are also new. And they're very comfortable slipper shoes. And they have a sole that's enough that if I have to run outside for some reason, I can do it.
More so than I do. I have the same kind of slippers that I will wear sometimes if I need to go out into the hallway and take a bag of garbage out.
Mm.
Hey Paul, I told you earlier the show might have been delayed a bit today because I went to
Yes.
Port Townsend this morning. Do you want to
Now
know
I
why
do
I
not.
went to
You
Port Townsend this
asked
morning?
me. You asked me if we talked about this in the podcast. I don't think that we did. So I'm interested to hear. And to all of our listeners, if I forgot about this, um, and Ben actually did tell
If
this, now you get to experience what Ben has experienced throughout our relationship, which is me telling the exact same story because I forgot that I told it to him already.
This is also
Uh,
an instance where I probably also forgot that I mentioned this, but my birthday is on Sunday. We're recording this on Thursday,
Happy
March
birthday,
6th.
belated,
Thank
Ben.
you. On Sunday, in 3 days, I turn 49. 49.
Whoa.
I am mentally, emotionally, I'm already 50. I'll have to
Yeah.
admit. Anytime somebody asks me how old I am, I say I'm almost 50.
Ben's been acting 50 for the last 15
For
years,
the
if you
last
ask me.
15 years. So anyway, my driver's license expired. My driver's license expires on Sunday, and I
Ooh.
got the little postcard in the mail saying skip the trip, renew your license online. I'm like, that's a fantastic idea. Between doing that between getting the card and actually doing that, I saw something online, probably just like scrolling through Reddit in the Seattle subreddit, saying the Washington State DOL computer system is going to be offline through February 18th. And I'm like, all right, screw it.
Oh.
I'll wait until after February 18th to renew my license. I log on like on February 19th,
Mm.
and I want to renew my license. And in big bold letters, you cannot. You are ineligible to renew your license. And my brain said, oh,
Mm.
their computer system is still offline. I'll just check back tomorrow
Oh.
and the next day and the next day.
Mm.
And then I started to get a little nervous because I'm like, well, it's if their computer system doesn't come back online before my birthday, I'm kind of out of luck. So they say if you're not able to renew online, you have to come into one of the offices. Seattle has all of 2 offices
Yeah.
that cover the entire
Yeah.
city.
I do
And
remember this. I do remember
yeah.
that there are only 2 offices in
Remember,
Seattle.
okay, so I've said that part. So anyway, I go and then I remember the reason why I'm ineligible to renew online is not because their computer system was down, but it's because 4 years ago I renewed my license online, and so they were like, you probably and someone told me they probably want to take your picture again. So what I did is I'm like, oh, I got to get a haircut to get my driver's license picture because my hair had been getting kind of long, and checking back in on the website, I finally before getting my haircut, they were like, make an appointment. You have to make an appointment to come in if you want to like be seen immediately. So I go in and say make an appointment, and they say our appointment software is offline right now. Check back later. Everything is going wrong, and I'm like, this isn't important. I don't care. I'll just check back in, or I'll walk up to the office and I'll hang out for a couple hours, and and get my license renewed. A process that takes
Yeah.
all of 15 minutes. So on the day that I'm planning on doing this, where I'm like, okay, I got a half a day, I can go up to Queen Anne. I log back in again, go through the whole routine again to see if I can renew online. I can't. I go and see if I can schedule an appointment, and their scheduling service is online again. And all of the appointments that I can see for like the Seattle area are for late March, early April,
Mm-hmm.
weeks after my license expires.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, expand the search. And so in all of the Puget Sound area, the only office that had an appointment for me to renew my license was Port Townsend.
And let's
And
just
so,
stop for a second and let the people know. You and I lived in the Pacific Northwest together. Well, I mean, we didn't live. Many people thought, for whatever reason, that we were roommates. And we believe it's because we had sort of a Bert and Ernie kind of persona.
Oscar Felix.
We've never actually been roommates.
Correct.
But we both did live in the Pacific Northwest around the same time. Port Townsend, in my estimation, and I don't know if you would agree, but I think you would, lovely. Lovely place
it's
to
a
go.
charming little town.
But
It
it's
is also 3 hours away
far.
via a ferry.
Yeah, exactly. Not the most convenient place to go.
Yeah, and so I make an appointment for today at 11 a.m. and I also walk down to Queen Anne just to see maybe I'll be able to get in, and then I'll cancel my appointment. And I get to the Queen Anne office and they say we're not taking walk-ins. And then they say you can try Tukwila, and I'm like I can't spend a day to go down to Tukwila on the off chance I might be able to renew my license.
Ben, but what about Tukwila?
Tukwila, as Mike Doty says.
Yes, exactly. Okay, sorry.
So I would rather make an appointment for an inconvenient place to be, knowing I can get in and out without any hassle, and just spend my day doing that, as opposed to spend my day hanging out in Tukwila, hoping to be seen. So that's what I did today. Catherine came with me on my trip to Port Townsend. So we made the ferry. It was the ferry was.
Well, now I hear that there are other ferries that you could have taken. Making a ferry to just do one trip, Herculean effort, and I applaud you.
Well, again, the Washington State ferry system is. I'm not gonna say it's broken, but it's not the most reliable. And a number of sailings this morning from Seattle were canceled because they were doing repairs on one of the boats. Fortunately, the sailing that I wanted to do was not canceled, but it was late by almost a half an hour, meaning the half an hour bumper that I gave myself to drive from Bainbridge Island to Port Townsend is now gone. So I had an 11 o'clock appointment at the Port Townsend driver's license offices. I walked in, walked in at like 10:58.
Now, some would say, coming from an actor community as you do, that is still early for many of your brethren. So, congratulations on that.
It was. I'm surprised that today went as well as it did. Yes, they did take my picture for my new license. I had an enhanced license. The Real ID law goes into effect in May. I don't know if you've gotten a Real ID yet, Paul.
What do I need a Real ID license for?
Traveling, I think. Makes it, if you want to travel without a passport, you'll need a Real ID.
Oh.
Or if you have a passport,
I have a passport. So there you go. That's the answer.
And then I just Catherine and I had lunch in Port Townsend, and then came back, and I rolled into my apartment a cool half an hour before going live with you today, Paul.
Hey, well, once again, that half-hour bumper came around.
Exactly.
To now.
So.
That's Ben. Let me say, congratulations on being licensed. I'm sure that you have right now the paper version of it, and you'll get your real license in the mail later on.
It's not actually
On
a printout of what the license looks like. It is just a document that says my license,
oh
is
wow,
current. Yeah, it's I thought I was going to get like, a little paper
that's
license to put in my wallet with my expired license. They don't do that anymore.
that's what you get in Illinois still.
Yeah, I don't
Oh
even know
hey,
what my picture's going to look like until I get the license in the mail. And I'm because
yeah.
I asked the person working the counter if I could actually like preview the photo or if it's gonna be a surprise when I get it in the mail, and she says, "Nah, it's gonna be a surprise."
Yeah. Uh, you're
But
gonna get it
they do have a
in the
90-day
mail.
free retake policy, so if I don't like it, I can get it
Oh,
retaken within
nice.
3 months.
So, okay, here's a Ben's gonna get some news. Ben, yesterday, they're two. This is a two-parter.
Wednesday, March 5th.
Uh, yesterday, something tangentially related to me happened. In the but just related to me as far as you're concerned, not as far as the rest of the country is concerned. But something related to me happened in Congress yesterday. That's number one. And then number two, something else happened the day before. What are those two things?
So the thing that happened the day before was the president's address to a joint session of Congress.
But that is not the thing I am talking about.
Okay. Is the thing that's related to you have anything to do with the
Oh,
efficiency
it's
cuts to
no,
the
no.
federal?
And something happened on Monday too. Then three things happened: Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, all having to do with me in some way. Now, out of all of your friends, Ben, what is a fact about me that is different than most of your other friends?
You're my only friend who lives in Chicago.
Oh,
Maybe
okay,
that's
you
not.
got one.
That
You
might
got
not be
one.
true. But for
Hey,
let's
if you
for
do
right
have
now, let's
other
say
friends that
yes.
live in Chicago, let me know who they are so that I can say hello to them.
I think Jeremy
Um,
Sher lives in Chicago. He was in
do I know Jeremy Sher?
he was in the Ebenezer cycle with me. If you watched that
Really?
play, yeah,
Okay.
he might
Well,
live in Chicago.
Jennifer definitely would know him then.
Yeah, because she was in that play as well. In fact,
Yeah.
her
Oh,
hair caught fire during one of the shows.
exactly. Okay, so it has to do with Chicago. All three things have to do with Chicago. All three things are different.
Is one of the
And
things
Monday,
your
Tuesday,
mayor
Wednesday.
defending the sanctuary city status in
Yes,
Congress?
that is one of the things that did happen.
It's one of the things.
Um,
All three
and
things have
here's
to
the
do with
thing.
Chicago.
Yes. There was a point made. And I know this because this has happened since I moved here. There's a point made in that Congress that Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, has the lowest rating of any government official in the United States, apparently. So I've decided because
That's quite the
I'm
feat.
a I'm a person that likes to be nice and likes people to feel good and all that. I wrote to the city of Chicago and said, "Hey, just wanted to let you know I saw Mayor Johnson speak to Congress, and I thought he did a fine job. Very happy of his representation of the city, and I appreciate everything they did." So I wrote a little nice thing, sent it off to Chicago, the city of, in their leave a comment for the city of Chicago section.
Leave a comment, take
Just
a comment.
because I'm hoping, yeah. And there was a separate complaints section. And I was thinking about filling out saying I would like to complain about the fact that people were mean to Mayor Johnson in Congress, but that's not something to complain about Chicago about. So people were mean to him. They tried to attack him, and I think he did a fine job
Yeah.
in defending himself and the people of this city.
I don't
So
know. Because
good
I think
job
Seattle's a
for
sanctuary
him.
city as well, but I don't think our mayor has been called to Congress yet.
No, your mayor did not get called to Congress. I know that for a
Our
fact.
our
It
mayor is also
was
not very popular, so I don't know
it
what
was
rating he has.
New York, uh, Denver, Boston, and Seattle, I believe, were the ones. Oh, by the way, Mayor Adams from New York, uh, AOC read this thing, and this is one of those pieces where, like, in a Law and Order or whatever, they're like, "Where are you going with this, counselor?" Because she kept on talking about meeting with federal officials
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and asking him if he's going to plead the fifth and all that. The idea that she posed is that he met with those federal officials and they gave him a choice, saying, because he was demonstrably the one of the people that were called that wasn't getting completely, chewed out by the Republican members of the Congress.
Yeah.
And the idea is that he made a deal that he would comply with federal agents so that he wouldn't get prosecuted. And she noted that there were several prosecutors who resigned based off of whatever deal was made. So anyway, so that happened. But yeah, so that was the thing that happened yesterday, Wednesday. So what happened on Tuesday and what happened on Monday?
So the thing that happened on Tuesday, it does not concern the presidential address.
No,
Because
it's a
that
Chicago
was the
thing.
big news. It's a Chicago thing. It's a
Yeah.
Chicago like event that happened.
Yes.
Like, would I have seen this on the news here in Seattle?
Probably not. Probably not.
So how would I know of
Um,
this event?
you probably wouldn't. I'm being mean to you. Uh, I will just tell you. It was the 188th anniversary of the founding of the city of Chicago.
Okay. Happy birthday,
So,
Chicago.
happy birthday, Chicago, specifically. And the only reason I know that is because I looked up Mayor Johnson's speech to Congress, and along with those results was him saying "Happy birthday, Chicago." And then
Ah.
Monday, of course. Now this is interesting. I thought that this was a national holiday, but apparently it's only a holiday in Illinois. My trash didn't get picked up because of it. What was going on Monday? Why wouldn't my trash have been picked up on Monday?
Because it's a municipal or a state holiday for some reason.
That's correct. Um,
Uh,
it's
it's
specifically
not
tied to
Lincoln's birthday.
Chicago. No,
It's a as does it have anything to do with the Chicago fire?
it does not. But I will say it has something to do with one of Chicago's main ethnic groups. And I believe that this ethnic group is larger in Chicago than in many other cities.
Well, now I don't know
And
which
this is
ethnic group that
again,
is, and I'm not
as a
just gonna
young
start
as a
calling out
as a
different
young kid in
ethnicities.
Illinois, a young kid in Illinois, I thought that this was a national holiday. I had no idea that it wasn't until much later. And I'm going to say this wrong probably. Casimir Pulaski Day.
Casimir Pulaski Day.
Does that sound familiar at all?
Never heard of it.
This is so, I mean, I believe you, but it's so crazy to me that nobody else celebrated this. But he's a Polish Revolutionary War hero.
Okay.
And Illinois had that day as a holiday ever since I was a kid. And so I ate pierogies for that. And I forgot how much I like pierogies. Pierogies are really good. Have you ever had them?
Oh yeah, we got a couple of pierogi shops in town. One is
Mm-hmm.
Pierogi, which made was made famous in the early pandemic days because the owner complained about the crime downtown and threatened to close. The end of
Oh,
this story, they actually expanded into the new convention center, so business must be good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, And there's an independent pierogi shop on Capitol Hill that is owned and operated by a friend of a friend.
Nice. So, Ben, when you're getting a pierogi, what is your favorite type of pierogi to get?
I don't have a favorite type, but I generally go with the meats inside.
Mmm. Yes. My favorite type of pierogi is the just the your basic cheddar.
Yeah.
Basic cheddar pierogi. Um, I eat mine in an air fryer. You can also boil them. And Jennifer said, "Yay, boiled whipped potatoes in a noodle-like wrapper. What could be tastier?" She does not like pierogies.
Yeah, I
Uh,
sounds like it. I've never had one at home. I've always just eaten them fresh from the counter.
yeah. So anyway, I like pierogies. It's good, and I'm very happy and proud to be living in the city of Chicago. It's a
Oh,
very Chicago week for me.
congratulations! Happy Chicago Week.
Thank you, and I'm happy to
Uh,
be here.
I pulled out an old laptop. I have a backpack that's got two old laptops of mine. One is a 2003 PowerBook G4. That's how old that
Wow.
is. And my first laptop, and the other is I think this is like a 2012 MacBook Pro, like 13-inch screen. Because I was this whole other project I'm doing, I needed to know if like I had certain bits of old software on either of these computers.
Hmm.
And I found out that the battery in the 2012 MacBook is starting to expand. The uh,
Oh,
the
I hate that.
the trackpad is starting to
Yep.
get punched out, and the button won't work. And I found this out yesterday, and literally it looks like it's getting larger today. I'm actually quite frightened of this laptop now.
Yep. I had that happen. I had that exact thing happen to me. Ben, eventually the case got cracked.
Yeah.
So from the inside. Um, Interestingly enough, this is something that we can talk about a little bit. I also have a
Hey,
couple of
Betty.
old Macs. Oh, thanks. Speaking of old Macs, here's some old Macs and cheeses. Thanks, buddy.
Betty was waving, so I was trying to wave back, but I couldn't get my
It
hands in the frame.
looked like you were doing this, which is fun. So yeah, and my iPhone that I have right now is an iPhone S2. We talked about this already. Um,
Yeah.
Second generation of the smaller iPhones.
SE2.
SE2? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. So it's just really kind of nice to have older technology that still works.
Yeah.
No facial recognition,
I have all of my old
for
iPhones.
example.
In fact, when I discovered that this battery was starting to expand, I pulled out all my old iPhones and like took a look at them to make sure that they were not going to pop as well.
Hmm.
So, I turned it on. I turned this laptop on and wiped the drive, and I'm just gonna donate it now to a electronics recycler and let them deal with it.
Hmm.
Let me ask you, when this happened to you, what did you do?
I believe what I did was I erased it and threw it away in a dumpster illegally.
Oh
But I
Jesus.
don't know for sure. I can't say that that's what actually happened.
Yeah,
I might have actually taken it to a recycling center,
yeah.
a
There's
computer
a whole
recycling
bunch of
center.
electronics at the theater that I need to recycle, so I'm gonna bring it into Annex and put it with a bunch of other
Oh,
stuff and just have someone else come in and take care of it.
you know what? That might have been. I think we've talked about this before, but you know Puppet House and Ninja Exterminators. That house.
Two of our films, two GudeLaurance films.
Jennifer and I had some old computer equipment. We took to a recycling center, and they said that they couldn't recycle it. That we had to pay them. We had to pay them like $50 for them to recycle it.
Why?
And so we just went back home because we didn't have $50 at the time.
Yeah.
And then that night, our car was broken into, and the people stole. The only thing that they took was the computer equipment that we had tried to recycle.
I mean,
So felt really good about that.
yeah. I mean, it sucks to be violated in that way, but hey, man, you did me a favor.
Hmm. It sucks to be violated that way, but hey, man, you did me a favor. The Ben Lawrence story. I don't like it.
Yep.
I don't like it, but
I was just gonna finish that
yeah.
sentence for you, but didn't want to go there.
Again, the Ben Lawrence. So
I said,
here's
"Hey,
the
man,
thing.
nice shot."
Um, we had mentioned offhand Mike Dowdy, because
Yeah.
of the way that he pronounced Tukwila in Busting Up a Starbucks.
A live version of
Um,
Busting Up a Starbucks,
live version of it.
recorded at KEXP by John in the Morning.
Ruby Vroom
Yes.
Anniversary Edition just came out recently, and
Are
I purchased it.
Are you talking about the vinyl? Did you buy the
No,
vinyl
no, just
version? Oh.
no. I just bought the version that was on iTunes.
Oh. What's different? What makes it anniversary? Is it remastered? Are there extra songs on it?
Extra songs.
Okay.
I think remastered also, but like I think Susie Snowflake is on there. Um,
Oh, never heard that one.
stuff that you've things that you've probably seen already. I'm guessing.
I you know I have a live album of Soul Coughing. It's called I think it's called like not B-sides and rarities. I think that's a Morphine album, but it's basically a live cut, and there are songs on this album that they used to play live, and apparently very popular because the you can hear the crowd singing along to one of them, and but they're not on any of the studio albums, so
Hmm.
I'd be interested to see what songs these are on the Ruby Vroom Anniversary Edition, and that also makes me wonder if each successive album is gonna get like a 30th anniversary re-release.
It might. They might.
I'm gonna look it
All
up.
indication is that Mike Dowdy likes money. No, I'm kidding. Come on, Mike. Don't
Don't
get mad.
be. I
Um,
wouldn't put it past them. Everybody likes money.
I did a karaoke version of Super Bon Bon uh, at the Pacific Science Center. No, not Pacific Science Center. The City Museum.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess a couple of years ago because it was during the Halloween times that they had it, and then we moved here. So it would have been not this October, but the October previous. And afterwards, a person that I didn't know came up and was really like he was like that was really really cool. What song was that? And what band was that? And so I told him,
My friend, let me
and
tell you a story.
I feel as though Mike Dowdy can now forgive me for jumping up on the stage during one of his shows.
I still recall that fondly. So
Yep.
the 30th anniversary edition of Ruby Vroom has two songs from this live album.
Ah,
Murder of Lawyers, which was just like a jam. It didn't sound like a whole song.
yeah.
But Amy Fisher was the one that everybody was singing along
Yeah.
to.
And
The
then
young gun, the long
is there
the young
something
gun, the long
called Susie Snowflake on there? I
No,
think.
there's Buddha, Rhubarb Butter, Murder of Lawyers, Amy Fisher, theme from Rachel's sitcom, and Screenwriter's Blues mood swing mix.
Yeah. So
Those are
so
the bonus tracks.
what I do when I do my my Tai Chi thing. Then this is something that the ancient Chinese scholars and practitioners who put together the form that I do did not intend for at all. But it's still something that I do, and I stand by it. I listen to music while I do it,
Yeah.
and I alter how I do it based on the music. that I'm listening to. So I still have the basic form that I do, and I still have the basic movements that I do. But if it's faster,
You
I go
do it to the
faster. If
beat.
it's yeah, exactly. I do it to the beat. And not only that, but I also have the attitude of it too. So I might be very slow and graceful. I might be like crazy and all that. And no
Yeah.
one can tell me not to because I'm 51 years old, almost 52 years old.
Almost 52.
Yeah. Um, and let me tell you, it is nice to be like, wait a second, I'm kind of an elder now. Like, I don't know exactly how old Zelensky is, but I think I'm older than him. Oh, Ben, did we talk about that at all?
Do we
There was a
have to?
great, there was a, no, not about that exactly, but
Okay.
about that as a whole. There's a
Okay.
great thing Jon Stewart did
Oh,
where he equated
the heel turn.
the
Yeah.
heel turn. And my God, Ben,
That was a
if
well done
you
piece.
if you at home do not know about this, there's a thing where JD Vance and Donald Trump were suddenly really mean to Zelensky,
Yeah.
the Ukrainian president, um, in a way that like seemed rehearsed and very strange. And I was grappling with it, and I felt so bad about it and weird about it until Jon Stewart noted that the same thing, the heel turn that The Rock and well,
John
the
Cena.
Rock was already bad,
Yeah.
but the heel
It
turn that
was
John
John
Cena
Cena's
did,
heel turn that a
yeah.
lot of people are quite upset about.
How do you feel about it, Ben?
I don't care. I don't follow wrestling. In fact, I didn't even know The Rock was a heel.
Yeah,
So
The Rock has started out as a heel, but apparently he's the new owner of the World Wrestling Entertainment
yeah, I didn't know that either.
Company.
The
Um,
guy that they the other wrestler who is not John Cena or The Rock, I had never heard
Cody
of
Rhodes.
before watching
Oh,
this Daily Show piece.
Ben, Cody Rhodes, I believe, is the son of, and if not the son, at least related to Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes was the idea of the People's Champion started kind of with him. He would go on and say like some union stuff and be like all about the American people and how it wasn't just his heavyweight championship; it was the people's, and he was there for. That's Dusty Rhodes. That's a legacy that Cody Rhodes is kind of
Okay,
falling in. Cody Rhodes is the baby face. He's the good guy.
the baby
And
face.
he's one of the one of the winners. He has a belt right now, and so the idea was, is he going to bend the knee and sign? There was a contract that The Rock wanted to sign, and he decided, no, I'm not going to sign it. And then John Cena took him out.
Yeah,
Um, and it's one of those things of like the reason people are mad about it. And so, are you familiar with kayfabe? Are you familiar with that idea?
remind me what it is. I actually
So,
I saw a whole play written by a friend of mine called Kayfabe, but I can't recall the whole concept of it right now.
so it's basically this, and it's like, so there's reality, right? And the
Yeah,
reality is that the wrestlers are, independent business people who are, wrestling under names and under contract with this organization, et cetera, et cetera. And the kayfabe is the idea that all these rivalries are real and people are actually mad at each other and people are actually getting hurt in the ring and et cetera. You're
yeah,
all, it's like suspension of disbelief in theater. It's like you're like, I'm accepting that this stuff is actually happening, right?
right.
And so the concept of um, I can't believe that some people are so stupid that they know that they think professional wrestling is real.
Yeah.
For a lot of them, they know it really isn't.
Right.
Like
It's a
deep
soap
down, they
opera.
know it isn't. But they pretend for the sake of it's like Santa Claus is real and he's a wrestler. Kind of is sort of the idea. Like your parents know Santa isn't real, but they're not gonna give away the thing. It's same thing like that. Like little kids watching wrestling might think that the wrestling is real. As they grow up to be adults, they kind of know that it isn't, but they still pretend that it is, and they still talk about it like it is,
It's
etc.
more fun that way.
It is more fun that way, and everybody agrees, and they're all on board. That's the
Yeah.
basic idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so the idea that um, John Cena, who has the record of the most Make a Wish things,
Right.
Make a Wish appearances, right? Wouldn't
Stewart.
have turned heel.
Stewart had a good line about that too.
What's that?
That some kids would get cancer just so they could meet John Cena.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, a couple of things. WWE has apparently trademarked the phrase "break a wish," so they think that might even come into the mythology now. That maybe he's going to be mean to a kid or something like that in
Oh
a
man.
promo. But the basic idea is, uh, if you take kayfabe at face value, right, what he's done is horrible, right? He's turned his back on these children and on goodness and everything like that.
Yeah.
If you look at it from a I understand wrestling and I like wrestling and all of that mindset, someone pointed it out like this: John Cena is going to be retiring soon. He takes a look at all the people that he hasn't gotten a chance to really wrestle with, and that he wants to wrestle with before he quits wrestling forever. And they're all baby faces. They're all people that, like CM Punk, uh, Cody Rhodes, etc. And he wants to wrestle them, but how is he going to do it?
So
The
turning
way that
heel
he
is his
does it,
farewell tour.
he turns heel as a farewell tour. And also, he's been a good guy forever, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't like to play the villain in that sort of way? And also, if you look at the roles that he's been taking, Peacemaker, things like that, he's already kind of gone against his squeaky clean image and all that. So this is just, the final evolution of his wrestling persona. And of course, what does he get then? The redemption arc. He becomes bad, so in the end, he could become good again, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what
Like
they end up
as
doing.
if it were written, and so it
Yeah.
shall be.
So it's pretty exciting. Um, but then again, when John Stewart used that as a metaphor for what happened, it made sense.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Um, I saw a very nice thing that somebody did where they were like, "Look, I know that we're all kind of afraid of." Oh, that's funny. I didn't even realize this. I was gonna put on a t-shirt, so I'm not in my normal tank top like I normally wear. I've done the podcast in a tank top before, though, right?
Yeah.
Like I've worn these kind of shirts before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. For the last like few weeks, actually.
It's interesting. I just noticed. I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I now weigh as as much or more than a lot of fat guys on different. Yeah, I put air quotes on fat guys under different things. I weigh more than John Belushi did, as an example. I weigh more than some professional wrestlers do. That sort of thing. It's interesting because I don't feel less healthy. I do feel old, right? I do feel,
Well, you are 51
um,
going on 52.
yeah. So I mean that's part of it, but I most likely am. Someone's going to tell me at some point in time, hey, you gotta lose weight. I don't know if I'm going to. I
Like a
might just,
doctor.
yeah, you gotta lose weight like a doctor. That's not the, but just regenerate into another. Well, that'd be like losing weight like the doctor, regenerate into a completely different body. Hey, hey, um, yeah.
Not
There's never been an
the first
overweight
time
Doctor
that
Who.
concept. Not well, there's time. I hear that Shudikawa is on his way out as the current doctor.
Really?
Yeah, it's a
You
surprisingly
know,
short term.
I have to say now, not no disrespect to him. I've not seen really any of his run as the Doctor after the musical number and the first thing that he was in. I was like, okay, and I'm not as interested.
Are
There was a
you? Is
musical
this
number.
when you say
This-
so? There was a Doctor Who musical number.
Yes,
Okay,
in the show Doctor Who, there was a big musical number that happened, and
really.
I was like, yeah, I'm not as interested in
I
this.
I want to see those episodes, but I want to also like experience everything in order because I know that David Tennant came back, to do some like specials and stuff, and I want to
Yeah, I
watch
didn't
those
see
as
any of
well.
those either.
But I
Just so
also
that people,
I I feel like I need to watch everything, just to like fill in, just to be a completist. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I've been really struggling with the Jodie Whittaker, the second season of Jodie Whittaker's show, Whittaker's run, and I think she does three. And it was just I was sitting there like I found myself like sighing heavily as I would turn the episode on, feeling like it was homework that I'm watching this show. And then I came to the realization there's so much good television out there. Why do I feel like I'm working when I watch this show?
yeah.
So I've stopped.
I
Maybe someday I'll
yeah,
pick it back up again, but I've stopped and I've gone on and watched other great shows.
I did, Ben. I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing. Um,
I should watch them on like 2 times speed.
I feel like, and I've gotten some corroboration from this from. So I have a friend whose name is Jordan. Jordan never watched Doctor Who. Jordan never watched Twin Peaks. We have the same kind of. We like a lot of the same kind of things. And what I realized was the things that I like that Jordan doesn't like are things that I watched when I was a kid and then grew into, whereas Jordan hasn't seen them and doesn't like them. And so there is that nostalgia spice flavor, right?
Yeah.
And I got rid of some podcasts. I got rid of, I didn't watch a lot of the recent Doctor Who's, etc. All these things because exactly like you're saying, if I feel like it's an obligation for me to watch, well, I have to watch
Yeah.
this because
Yeah.
then I shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Life is too
Totally.
short, etc. I've got my mallet station, which, by the way, I showed you the mallet station already,
You
right? The
did.
setup for
Yeah,
it.
last week.
I've written to the company that makes the mini brute or the micro brute. Sorry, is it the wait? What which is it? Yeah, it's the micro brute. The micro brute, which is the monophonic keyboard that I've got the mallet
Yeah.
station running through.
Please make a polyphonic version of this.
I no, I wrote to the company and said, "Hey, so they have overlays that you can put over the micro brute that tells you put this knob here, etc., and then you can make this sound." Um, and they got damaged in the move. When I say
Oh.
they got damaged in the move, what I mean is I had them sitting on and never would peed on them. But that's not important. The important thing is that I wanted to know if they could send me new ones, and they
Yeah.
still haven't done it yet. So I've got a couple of things that I've been doing to kind of help. But one of the things that you can't do with it is, you can't hit more than one note at the same time. But what you can do is there's a sustain pedal that I have, and you can hit all three notes in a chord, and then the chord will be playing.
Yeah.
because you've got the sustain pedal down. So I can make the chord and I can loop the chord and I can play over the top of the chord. So that's fun. I think, yeah, we had this conversation already. Why am I making it harder for myself? It's just because it's more fun that way.
I read this article about how certain Warner Brothers DVDs were manufactured incorrectly back in the mid 2000s, and they're now unplayable. And so people who
Huh.
bought a bunch of like old movies and old cartoons from Warner Brothers back from like 2005 to 2008 can no longer play their DVDs. So that actually made me think, well, I have a heck of a DVD collection, and even though I don't watch my DVDs anymore, I still want to maybe occasionally go back and experience some of the special features that might not be online. And the reason I fell into that mindset is because the last time we spoke, Gene Hackman had just died, and this is
Yep.
the circumstances around that they still don't know what happened. But anyway, I watched the
It's Gene
French
Hackman and his wife and his dog.
and a dog, one of three
Hey,
dogs.
dog.
So I watched The French Connection, and then I went back and I listened to Gene Hackman's audio commentary, which was only about 20 minutes. I listened to Roy Scheider's audio commentary, which was only about, 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, if this DVD stops playing, I'll lose this content that,
Yeah.
sometime down the road, I mean, the day when, Keanu Reeves passes away, I'm gonna want to watch my DVD of The Matrix and experience everything that's in there. So, thankfully, I have an old Mac Pro that has a bit of software on it that allows me to copy the DVD
Ah,
files
yes.
without like exporting it as movies, because I've done that too. Like I've exported a bunch of like QuickTime movies from the DVDs, which I don't watch because they're like 720p and I can stream 4K on my Apple TV.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But so now
Nothing. Nothing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I've given myself this new project. Not speaking of like not making it easier on myself. Now, on top of everything else that I'm doing, I'm slowly taking like a handful of DVDs to work with me, and during the course of the day, just ripping these DVDs to the hard drive, and bringing that data back home and storing it on my server here. For no other reason than one day I may want to watch something on one of these DVDs, assuming the DVD won't work or it will no longer have a DVD player.
I gotta say, this TV, not this TV, sorry, this Discord that I'm on right now with all these different people, a lot of them are millennials, Gen Z, etc. They're all really big into getting physical media.
Really?
Yet, like this is a new trend because they're all afraid that Apple or
Well,
Sony or whoever are going to say you don't own these anymore, and
yeah.
they won't be able to watch their
What
stuff.
have we always said? I mean, I had to change my Apple ID at one point,
Mhm.
and everything I bought on iTunes from that first ID, I can't access anymore because that ID no longer exists.
Wow, crazy!
And
Why
it's
did
not
you
a
change
lot.
your Apple ID?
It was something dumb. It was like when I first signed up for my Apple ID, it was like you get something for free, but then we're gonna start charging you for something after the initial period. And so I had the ID, and then I removed a period from it, so it was
Oh,
like, this isn't it, but like Ben.Lawrence was the initial at
uh-huh.
Mac.com was the initial ID, but then then for whatever reason, I felt like this is totally on me. It's user error, but it felt like it was asking me to change my email address,
Yeah,
so I just made it Ben Lawrence with no period.
and you lost all the Ben Dot
And I
Lawrence
lost
things.
all the Ben.Lawrence stuff. And granted, it's not. It was like a handful of songs, right? Not a big
Yeah.
deal. It's probably only like $10, $15 of stuff. But let's say you lose all access to your current, Apple ID, and you have a ton of stuff that you lose access to.
Yeah. I mean, I've got some stuff in Apple, I've got some stuff in Amazon, and one of the reasons is if that goes down, if one of them goes away, then I have the other one
Yeah.
at the other place. So that makes sense. I have movies that I have on Apple. I have movies that I have on Amazon. You know, that I purchased.
Yeah.
The thing that I haven't done, I don't think I have something that I bought on both of them. If that makes sense. I'd be interested to see if I did. Did I buy things on both places? I might
That's
have.
a that's actually the modern version of what my dad would do. He would they have so many duplicate DVDs cuz my father would forget that he already owned
Yeah,
something.
exactly. I mean, I have in the past,
Frustrating my
out
mother
of
for no end.
sheer laziness, um, and well, laziness, but also an upgrade, like you've talked about. Very similar to what you were saying. I had the DVD. The DVD was on the TV stand in front of me, and instead I bought it on line because it was of a higher
Yeah.
resolution, and also then I didn't have to get it out of the case and play it. So there's that.
Yeah. I see that. I get that.
But I am interested in. I'm making a prediction now, Ben. You know the whole thing with the special features that you would get on Star Wars and how eventually you couldn't get it without the special features.
Right.
I feel like eventually there are going to be TVs, and almost all TVs will have this AI component with them, and you're not going to be able to watch the movies like you got them or like you saw in the theaters. The AI is going to tweak the films that you see so that you are going to see a different film than I did, and our film versions are not going to be the exact same.
What are
And
they
in
going to base
order
it
to
on? Like
watch
our advertising preferences?
our advertising preferences, what we've seen in the past, what movies we'd liked, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be that big of a thing, but basically your images are going to be clear. You're not going to get any you're not going to get any pixelation, etc., because you're not going to be watching the exact film as it was shot. You're going to be watching
Yeah.
recreations of the frames of the film.
That's
Uh,
that's why I loved this copy of The French Connection that I had because it's DVD quality, right? So the highest
yeah,
resolution is 720p, or like 853p if it's anamorphic.
yeah,
But because there's no like 4K upres, there's no AI weird generational thing.
yeah.
You see the film grain, and it is beautiful. It's a really fantastic looking film, and it just feels like it's 1970s all over again.
I feel like you and I have the same copy of that film
Yeah,
because I was unpacking all my DVDs and I had one. It's a larger. It's like a two
it
disc set or
two
something like
disc
that.
set. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab mine. BRB.
Yeah, I would grab mine, but it's all the way downstairs. And we're coming to the end of the episode, Ben, as well. So the time that it would take me to go and get it is too late, I say.
The 5-star
Yeah,
collection.
that's it. I have it as well. I have that exact one. Isn't
Yeah,
that crazy?
I recommend it. It's I didn't see.
I don't think we've ever talked about it, but yeah, we both have the exact same one.
We probably have a lot of the exact same, like the Blade Runner like 4-disc set that includes like every single version of the movie. Do you have that one?
I don't know if I do or not. Now here's something that's interesting though. Um, Jennifer and I have one of the couples where they've been together for a really long time. It's like that rug is orange. No, it's red. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
We have one of those where she remembers having a version of Star Wars that had the original um,
Yeah,
theatrical
the
release as
theatrical
well as the special edition.
1977 theatrical release.
Yeah, and the special editions in the same one.
Yeah.
I remember that being mine, and
I mean, at a certain point, what does it
What I've
matter?
what I've figured out is this. In my mind, those are hers. And I might have bought another copy myself at one point in time and then sold it or gotten rid
Yeah.
of it or whatever. But I don't have to worry about what happened with mine because they aren't here. I just agree that those are hers, and that's
I
it.
mean, did you do this thing where when you two moved in together, did you compare like the books and the DVDs and the CDs that you had, and
I
like
don't think
you
we
if
did.
you
I
if you
don't
had this two of the same one got you got rid of one because like what's
I
yours
don't
is
believe we
mine,
did.
and
No, I'm too selfish for that. I wouldn't have
so
gotten rid of my
the Gene
stuff.
Hackman thing. The last I heard was that the wife was found in bed. There was an open bottle of pills next to her. Gene Hackman was found in the entryway of their house, and one of three dogs was found in a closet in a crate. And the
Huh.
bodies all were mummified. So they'd been dead for a couple weeks. And it was not carbon monoxide poisoning. So
But
it's still
there were
ongoing.
two other dogs that were alive
Two other dogs that were alive, yeah.
in
Two
the
like bigger
house.
dogs in the house, I believe. And I don't know if the dogs were, taking
Okay.
advantage of
Well,
the dead bodies.
they were they were humping them when you said take advantage of. Hey guys, I love Gene Hackman. I'm sorry. That was a remove from the hypothetical humping of Gene Hackman's body is something that we should keep between us. Not definitely don't put it in the show notes. So here, but this is what Jennifer had said. As you know, Jennifer famously very good at profiling criminals. Did a profile of the DC snipers at a party one time that turned out to be absolutely
Yeah,
it was
spot on.
crazy. But one of the things that she said was, uh, if the dog's dead, right? It's a possibility that it was a intentional thing on their part. You kill the dog first, so that the dog doesn't have to suffer and
Yeah.
be, left alone and all that. But if there were two other dogs, that might throw
And so that was the
her
implication
hypothesis.
that the dog that was stuck in the closet in the crate starved while the other dogs had other sources of something to eat.
So I'm gonna have to tell her that and see if that what that new information does, because that's one of the things is that she works off of whatever information she has. So you give her as much information as you have,
I would
so that
say
she
look this up first before you tell her instead of just saying
yeah.
Ben says this happened because,
Oh, I'm gonna say Ben
the
says this
the
happened.
the news that I read yesterday about this might have already changed.
Yeah. So, well, I'm sure that she might be paying attention. I don't know. It's interesting what she pays attention to and what she doesn't. It's almost as though she's a human being with different ideas and interests than me. So, anyway,
Indeed.
all right,
Anyway,
Ben.
hey, look at the time.
Yeah, we're done. We're 6 minutes over. Can you believe it?
Oh my god, I
Um,
wanted to talk about Gene Hackman.
but hey, and I support you in the talking about Gene Hackman,
How big
and
of a
given
Hackman?
all of
A
that,
Gene Hackman.
Gene You can't tell by my voice listeners, but I really enjoyed that. All right, Ben. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, Paul.
Keep it